Title: The Thorn in Their Garden. Amara and David were deeply in love. Their marriage was a haven of laughter, prayer, and mutual respect. They shared dreams of building a home filled with peace and joy. Friends admired them, seeing a couple so united in spirit and heart that their bond seemed unbreakable. But no matter how strong their love was, there was one shadow that refused to leave their home: David's mother, Madame Rufina. From the very beginning, Madame Rufina never accepted Amara. She called her a nobody, whispered lies to relatives, and sowed seeds of doubt in David's mind. She would tell anyone who would listen that Amara was unworthy of her son, that she would bring shame and trouble into the family. At first, Amara endured the cruelty quietly. She smiled through insults, ignored the gossip, and prayed that love and patience would soften the old woman's heart. But Madame Rufina's bitterness only grew stronger. She insulted Amara publicly, often in front of neighbors or family, leaving her humiliated. She spread false stories about Amara's character and her small business, driving clients and friends away. Arguments erupted in the home, each more tense and painful than the last. David tried to mediate. His heart ached to see his wife suffer, and he confronted his mother. "Mother, why can't you let us have peace? Amara is my wife. I chose her. I love her. Can't you just accept that?" But Rufina only hardened her heart. She vowed that the marriage would fail, convinced she could break Amara's spirit before the love between the young couple could grow strong enough to withstand her interference. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. The tension in the household was like a storm that never passed. Amara remained patient, gentle, and composed. But even she began to feel the weight of constant scrutiny, verbal attacks, and the quiet resentment that lingered in the corners of the home. Then, one fateful night changed everything. It started with another argument. Madame Rufina, fueled by years of resentment and unchecked anger, stormed through the house, shouting and blaming. David tried to intervene, but she would not be reasoned with. She left the house in a fury, slamming the door behind her. No one expected what would happen next. On the wet steps outside, Rufina slipped. She fell, landing hard. The pain was immediate and intense. She cried out for help as neighbors rushed to assist her. Her leg was broken. She was rushed to the hospital, unable to walk or care for herself. For someone who had always commanded attention, for someone whose words had once struck fear into everyone around her, this moment of vulnerability was humbling. She realized, perhaps for the first time, how fragile she truly was. During her recovery, friends and relatives stayed away. Perhaps they were uncomfortable with her presence. Perhaps they wanted to avoid the tension she often brought. The only person who did not leave was the daughter-in-law she had tormented, the very person she had tried to ruin Amara. Amara showed no anger. She showed no resentment. She simply cared. Day after day, Amara visited. She brought meals, prepared her medications, cleaned her room, and prayed with her. She spoke to Rufina kindly, offered words of encouragement, and reminded her of hope. At first, Rufina was shocked. She did not know how to respond. She expected anger, hostility, or at least judgment, but Amara showed none of these. Slowly, the old woman's heart began to change. Bitterness melted into shame. Pride gave way to humility. She began to see the depth of the kindness she had once rejected, and a quiet sense of remorse settled in her soul. One quiet morning, as Amara helped her sit up for breakfast, Rufina's voice trembled. Why are you doing this for me, after everything I've done?" Amara smiled, gently brushing her hair back from Rufina's face. "Because love is stronger than hatred, Mama. It always will be." Tears ran down Rufina's cheeks. She finally understood that the cruelty she had carried for decades had only isolated her. She had tried to control, dominate, and break Amara's spirit, but it had been powerless against patience, humility, and love. From that day forward, Madame Rufina changed. She returned home with a new heart, gentle, grateful, and full of remorse. The house, once tense and heavy with anger, became a true home. Laughter returned, prayer returned, peace returned. Amara and David's love had overcome the thorn in their garden. Their story was a living proof that kindness, patience, and unexpected love can heal even the deepest wounds. The thorn was not removed by punishment, confrontation, or anger. It was removed by compassion. Lesson learned. This story teaches that love is stronger than hatred, and kindness can transform even the hardest hearts. True change rarely comes from force, anger, or punishment. Instead, patience, humility, and consistent compassion have the power to heal wounds that seemed impossible to overcome. It also reminds us that even those who seem bitter, cruel, or unapproachable are often carrying pain of their own, and it is love, not revenge, that can truly set them free. Finally, the story shows that small acts of selfless love can create monumental change. A meal, a prayer, a gentle word, these gestures, seemingly simple, can break down barriers, transform relationships, and restore peace. Amara's example reminds us that true strength lies not in retaliation or power, but in the courage to show love when it is least expected and most needed.